The burning question for football fans in Philadelphia and New Jersey is why? Eagles, why? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Why Eagles, Why? Your weekly therapy session with the Philadelphia Eagles, or some might say marriage counseling between the team, the bettors, and the fans. I'm Dave Bontempo, so happy to be joined by my partners, Bill Gelman and Pete Amato. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified about our future videos, hit that notification bell button. As you know, we start our show and we have 4 quarters. So guys, let's get right to it. First quarter. What is your big why? I'll start with you, Bill. What's your big why and burning question as we start week 2 of the season?
Why, Nick Sirianni, didn't you give us a little teaser of what you were going to show us in the week 1 of the NFL season? I felt like I knew nothing about the team heading into week 1, hence why my prediction was way off last week. I believe I had the Eagles losing by a field goal with a lot less points. But it just seemed like you're a first-year head coach who was never an offensive coordinator in the NFL. You showed us a balanced offense. You show a team that, yes, there were a lot of penalties, which we'll get into later, but the team looked prepared, ready, and you outcoached the Falcons big time on their field.
Hey, you know, Bill, you would have hit the under and the Eagles because you said 17-14. They were getting 3.5. You would have hit that. Yes. So you were in the ballpark with that. And Pete, I know you have some sentiments too on Nick Sirianni. You know, you guys are not alone. The Falcons would have liked a better preview as well. But Pete, I know you were impressed with what you saw from Nick Sirianni as well.
Yeah. I was very impressed. As you know, I picked the Eagles to lose and to lose big. I didn't think they were going to be as prepared as they were. Nick Sirianni had them working as if they had played together before, and we've never seen them play together before, so we weren't even ready for that. I think they surprised the whole city. I think they surprised the whole league, to be honest, and I got to give credit to Nick Sirianni, a lot of credit.
Hey, you know, that 26-point margin was the second biggest in all of football.
Crazy.
So that's really an impressive statistic for the Eagles to compile. And of course, we have our after the fact experts, which is fine, saying, hey, you know, the preseason was overrated. They didn't need anything out of that anyway. I love the comments you get after, but everybody does have a big smile on their face. And one of the distinguishing features of the Eagles in week 1 was that balance. And Pete, I don't remember the last time I saw that much balance on the field in one game from this team.
No, I don't either. We all know the Eagles have been known to be very pass heavy, whether it was Andy Reid or Doug. They've been very pass heavy. The fans have been yelling to run more for years now. And it looks like Sirianni's regime, it looks like they're going to be a little more balanced, hopefully, if this first game tells. I was actually impressed with the run game in general. We had Miles Sanders. He ran 15 carries for 76 yards, 4 catches for 39 yards, and Jalen Hurts went 27 for 35 for 264 yards. And what I was really pleasantly surprised is with the rookie, the 5th-round pick, Kenneth Gainwell. He had 9 attempts for 37 yards, but he really seemed like a standout player that first game. You could tell he really wanted to be on the field, and I think he brought a little spark to the team.
All right, Bill, before I get to your balance question, I'm going to throw this to you too. A, comment about the balance, but 2, what about Jalen Hurts in the pocket? What about that back-breaking score with a couple seconds to go in the first half? So I'll get you to comment on both of those angles, the score and the balance.
Well, the balance I was just very impressed with because you really didn't know what this wide receiving core was going to bring into the game because they're all young. You know, Rager's second year. Smith it's his first year playing. Dallas Goedert is still establishing himself as a number 1 tight end. You knew what Miles Sanders could do. So it was just good. I bring it back to Nick Sirianni. He took advantage of all his weapons and think about it. We're talking about the Eagles. And I would think you guys would have thought you would have saw Boston Scott in the game. He didn't have any touches in this game. Nope. So imagine if if he still has it. If he throws that guy into the mix, Zach Ertz got hurt in the game, so it's you have that play where it was just like it's just preparation. It's key in this game in terms of the score at the end of that late score. I mean, just showed the Eagles came prepared. They take that convincing lead. I said last week it was all about, establishing the offense, not taking your foot off the gas. And that's exactly what the Eagles did this week. And I want to bring up one more stat. The Eagles only allowed 1 sack. That's a huge difference from last season. Jalen Hurts had plenty of time in the pocket.
Having led the league in sacks allowed last year. So that was a major, major step up. And now what about Jalen Hurts before we depart this first quarter here? The Goddard touchdown, he made the opening with his feet scampering and setting up plays. I sensed a little tinge and maybe the ghost of Randall Cunningham. But what about his ability to move the pocket, to scramble, and what he set up? I mean, especially when you look at how he threw that one off of the wrong foot. What about what he can bring with those type of plays? And what will that do to this offense if he's able to do that? Why don't you guys each chime in on that, and we'll call that the end of the first quarter.
We all know he can run. We all know he can scramble, but the ability to run and scramble with his head still downfield is what impressed me. I've been saying I don't see a franchise quarterback in Jalen Hurts, but so far he's made me eat my words, and I hope he continues to do that. It really impressed me. I knew he was going to be able to run. I knew he was going to be able to scramble and break tackles. But as far as he keeps his head downfield as he's scrambling, as he's getting away from the rush, that's what impressed me the most. And if he keeps doing that at a high level, then he will be a franchise quarterback.
Bill, final play of the first quarter to you, your impressions of Hurts and what you might expect going forward.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I mean, I think we would like to see a little more improvement on his deeper throws, get the ball deeper. He got a couple lucky breaks in that one. Let's just touch on that real quick. If you watch the replay of one of those Dallas Goedert catches, the ball was actually on the ground, but the Eagles went right back to the line of scrimmage, got a playoff before they could throw the challenge flag. And the Goddard touchdown was also, and that looked like it wasn't enough to overturn it, but you could question whether that was a touchdown. Didn't even matter in the game because the Eagles blew him out. But I'm just saying that it's once he gets in rhythm, plays more snaps and gets that rhythm going where he's is on the timing with his receivers and his tight ends. I think it's let's keep an eye, see how what he takes from this first game and going forward.
All right, everybody's enjoying the after party in Philadelphia. They enjoy game one. We enjoy the end of quarter one, and we'll be right back to start the second quarter. It's Why Eagles Why, the second quarter. Dave Bontempo, Bill Gelman, and Pete Amato with you. And Pete, when we talk about the Eagles and the Niners, there's a good number the Eagles fans will like. 3.5. That is eerily reminiscent of last week's lines against the Atlanta Falcons. What do you make of that betting line coming in?
It gives you the green light to bet on the Eagles, in my opinion. They're home. Usually it's kind of confusing, actually, that they're getting 3.5 points here. I would maybe say 2.5 because of the Niners, of how good of a team they are. But 3.5, I feel like is a lot. And I feel like that's definitely an Eagles line there. Yes, the Niners do have Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. It will create some mismatches, but I think the Eagles have shown that they do have the chemistry going to this game, and the Niners were shaky that first week, and the Eagles were not shaky. So I think the 3.5 points, I would take the 3.5 points, and I would take the Eagles there.
That extra half point will be enticing
to
a lot of bettors, along with many
Absolutely.
other bets that we're going to see coming up over the course of time. One of the earlier ones I saw that was very interesting was Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith to score. That was at DraftKings. I think that had gone up to plus 400. The interesting equation, will the Eagles be better if Hurts is not scoring and just throwing the ball? We'll see how that goes along. But now, Bill, the 49ers, they put up a lot, and they gave up a lot last week to the Detroit Lions. Your assessment of them coming into this game?
Yeah, I was just surprised. I saw that score going across the bottom of the screen when the Eagles were playing, and I'm like, they got this game won. And then I'm watching the second half score. I see, what happened here? Why the Lions outscored them 23-10 in the second half? Well, how did they let them back in the game? Detroit, who doesn't have Matthew Stafford anymore, they finished with over 400 yards of offense. They outscored the 49ers 23-10 in the second half. So it goes to show me that, yes, the 49ers are a very good team. And I had it as a big concern when the season started as one that the Eagles probably aren't going to win. But it's, I saw that the 49ers have flaws. You can't give up that many points when you have that convincing of a lead. And I think the Eagles are a better offensive team. So I'm more confident about the Eagles heading into this game.
Well, regarding the 41-33 victory over the Niners, we talk a lot about timing is everything. And that line went up from 7.5 to 9 just before the game. And if you'd waited, you would have backdoored your way into a Lions cover, because that's important stuff for the gamblers to see what happens late. How about some of the key matchups? And what do you think are the areas in which you guys would think the Eagles are a little vulnerable? And which of the areas do you think that they can outplay the 49ers?
Definitely the two DNs. You have Armstead and Joey Bosa. And you have a first-year starter, Jordan Mailata, on the left tackle side there. So that might be a little tough of a matchup, whoever he has to go against there. And again, you have George Kittle, and he can create mismatches. He's probably the best tight end in the league. And we don't have the greatest linebacker crew right now. So he's going to create mismatches and he's going to make plays. It just depends on how Sirianni and his and defensive coordinator can kind of move around the guys and cover him.
Hey, Bill, I'll toss this one to you here. How about the emotional carryover of a resounding win like that, coming home to face the 49ers? I mean, that was such a convincing triumph of Philadelphia over Atlanta. What about the confidence level that injects into this team now?
Yeah, I think it's huge because you have two factors. One is, there was a big question marks surrounding this Eagles team as to what type of team they have. Could they compete for the NFC East? What type of offense they have? But the bigger advantage for the Eagles is this is the first time in over a year you're going to have over 60,000 fans in front of your stadium. I mean, look at all the Eagles fans that were at the Falcons games last week. Now they're all Eagles fans, and they're hungry for Eagles football because last year you had a few games where you had limited capacity. Having them in your corner, and you have a 49ers team that's flying in from the West Coast, I think that's going to make a huge difference for the Eagles and give them that extra motivation they need to get ready and win this game.
No question, the pent-up demand is going to be strong. People have waited for an unleashing for quite a long time. Pete, I'll give you the final thought on this for the second quarter, talking about Bill's point. The crowd, your thoughts, the expectations, what it means, what people say to you about the anticipation of a home game that people can go to.
We as Eagles fans have been waiting for this for a long time. Full capacity. The Linc is going to be juiced up. It's going to be crazy. And a lot of what they say about coming into enemy territory in Philly as being the toughest stadium, it's going to show. And the Niners are going to hear it. They're going to hear it, and I think it's going to affect them and affect the Eagles team as well. It's going to pump them up. The Linc's going to explode. It's going to be great. I mean, I can't wait to see it. And I think all the advantage goes to the Eagles at home field.
All right, people can't wait to take it in at the Linc as we get to halftime. The third quarter of Why, Eagles Why. Dave Bontempo, Pete Amato, and Bill Gelman with you as we go around the league. The NFC East had quite a compelling story, starting with Dak is back because he almost had a miracle victory against the Tampa Bay Bucks in week 1. Thank God he didn't, for all us promo fans. But it was still great to see him throw for more than 400 yards. Dak is back. What did you guys think of his performance and the fact that he is back from that injury?
I was surprised. I mean, it was a gruesome injury. Usually when a quarterback or somebody of that high caliber comes back from that gruesome of an injury, it takes them a little while to kind of get their feet wet, but he looked like he didn't miss a beat. They have a very highly talented group of players on offense, and they almost took out the defending champs, and they really didn't even use Zeke. So it's a little worrisome, but he looked a lot better than I thought, and probably a lot better than a lot of other people thought.
I love his cadre of receivers too, from CeeDee Lamb to Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. Bill, what were your impressions watching him come back and play his first game in a long time?
I was actually pleasantly surprised to throw over 400 yards against a Buccaneers defense that supposedly has one of the better defenses in the entire NFL. That was really impressive. I mean, but you have multiple targets there, and like Pete said, it's Zeke really was almost like non-existent in this game. So the fact that you almost beat Tom Brady and Gronk in this game in Tampa Bay in the season opener, it's shocking. I mean, it's goes to show you Tom Brady still has his magic, and the Cowboys still know not how to finish a game.
Well, they had so many opportunities.
I would say surprised, but not pleasantly surprised, Bill. They are the Cowboys. So
that's true. It brings us. I made NFL Week 1 off to a strong start.
I had made a bet about the under. I took the under for NFC East victories. It was 1.5, but that one, I had right in my pocket. That's a Dallas loss. I made the bet based on them losing, and then you watch this game saying, "What are you doing to me here?"
Yeah, they had you sweating a bit.
They really did. Hey, around the league, Dak is one major quarterback, and it's our quarterback theme this week. But Danny Dimes getting a lot of criticism in New York because of his propensity to turn over the ball at the wrong time. And after a big drive against Washington, when they were losing 17-7, Bill, it looked like he turned too much rather than slide, and he coughed up the ball again. And they were never that close to Denver from that point on in that game. Danny Dimes continues to labor in New York.
Yes, and Danny Dimes, you made me look really bad last week because I tried to compliment you and say that the Giants, now that they have some weapons around Danny Dimes, we're starting to a team that would maybe show signs of improvement this year, because they were in the race to the very end, just like with the rest of the NFC. But it's just like you're continuing to shoot yourself in the foot there, Danny. I thought maybe he has promise, but maybe he's just not the right fit for this quarterback. I mean, you can't go by one game, but it's just, I would say for Giants fans and the Giants as a team, there's a lot of work left to be done, and you don't have much time to prepare for week 2.
Well, this is his put up or shut up year. And Pete, I was taken by one thing, and I wonder if we'll see more coaches focus on this. Denver scored in a long drive just before the end of the half. Then they got the second half kickoff, and they went 8 minutes and scored, going from 10-7 down to going up by a few points. And the whole air went out of the stadium with that. And there's a lot to that link, isn't there, between the end of the first half possession and the second half's first possession?
Yeah, there is. I think that's why you see a lot of teams prefer to kick on the opening kickoff. They prefer to kick, and they prefer to get the ball back at half, because if they can do a back-to-back score, it kind of takes the air out of the other team. And if they are visiting, it takes the air out of the whole stadium.
We'll see if we're talking about this next individual and team at the end of the year. Washington could have drafted a quarterback. They didn't. They went with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's hurt now. Taylor Heineke is pretty good, and he does have some playoff experience, but nonetheless, a puzzling lack of investment in youth, I think, for Washington. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, Fitzpatrick, or as we like to refer to him as Fitzmagic, he seems to always find a way to get a role. I think last year he showed us a little bit with the Dolphins, and you thought, maybe this year he still had a little bit, but he's, now he's on the injured reserve for 6 to 8 weeks. The Washington football team, they're back down to their second string quarterback who has shown some potential, but he's an unknown, and we don't know where things go. But Washington has a decent tight end. They have some wide receivers, a strong running back. So there's some pieces in place there. And this week is going to be a test to see which team is further along at this point in the season.
All right, so there's a lot to consider for all these NFC East teams. And just to put it on the calendar, week 3, Eagles at Cowboys, and that will be another NFC East showdown that we're going to be all over in Why Eagles Why in our next episode, as we come to the end of quarter number 3. All right, the fourth quarter of Why Eagles Why. Dave Bontempo, Bill Gelman, and Pete Amato with you. Now we go around the league and talk about some of our favorite games. I'll start with the Raiders and the Steelers. Used to be the Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. Love this game for a number of reasons. Las Vegas comes off that exhilarating victory over Baltimore on Monday Night Football, and Pittsburgh surprising Buffalo in Buffalo week 1. Bill, that was your pick of the week. Last week, that game certainly was illuminating. And I love the fact that these storied franchises, they set an NFL record, the only 2 teams to meet in 5 consecutive years in the playoffs. That was back in the 70s. So now Pittsburgh comes in off of a win. The Raiders come in off of a Monday night surprise. I love the rivalry. I love the bitterness there. So that is my game to watch and enjoy. Pete, I know that you and I both rode those Bengals last week to that overtime win over Minnesota. And you have a focus on the Bengals again this week.
Yeah, I never thought coming to the season that I'd be the Bengals would be my featured around the league games, but they're an interesting team. I really like Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase seemed to come out of his shell last game as well. And they're getting 2.5 points. So the Bears got smashed by the Rams, and I think they're still just not giving the Bengals the respect they deserve. Although their coach did almost blow the game for them last week, and they are away, so it's fitting that the home team does get that 2.5, 3 points. But I think going with the Bengals in this game is a good pick. And also, the over-under is only 45.5, and I think the over is looking good for this game as well.
Yes, and if not, we'll just tease it down as far as we need to take it. And then you put that with a couple of other games. Hey, Bill, we'll leave you with a twofer because we have a great Sunday night game and an intriguing Monday night game.
Yeah, Sunday night, you got the Kansas City Chiefs coming to Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson should have won last night. Looked like he was going to win. Baltimore didn't win. Here they are back at home. They're actually getting 3.5 points at home against the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes, he had to do a late comeback last week to beat the Cleveland Browns. So it's an intriguing game, because not just because it's in prime time, because you have 2 of the top teams in the AFC. Both, I believe, have something to show this week. And I think with Baltimore being the home team, I almost feel like they need that extra drive to really turn things around after that heartbreaking defeat last night. And then on Monday night, you got the Green Bay Packers, who forgot to show up for week 1. I believe they put up, 3 points against New Orleans Saints?
38-3, biggest margin of defeat in the league last week as a chalk.
Right.
And that game was in Jacksonville, of course, because New Orleans had to move it. But yeah, Bill, that was quite a surprise. And hey, they're smarting from that. So they have to come out with a little bit more, you're thinking, against the Detroit Lions and with some anger.
Yeah, I think you can't play like that at home. I think I feel like the offseason was all about Aaron Rodgers wanting to leave Green Bay and unhappy with Green Bay. And it's just like, I don't know if it was a distraction or something, but that wasn't an Aaron Rodgers type game this week. And I think Green Bay is not going to let that happen at home. I see them, this being a convincing win for them.
Yeah, that's right. That was not terms of endearment 2, watching Aaron Rodgers in that game. He said it's only one game, and technically he's correct, so he'll try to even the ledger. So they are our 3 games going around the league, and we'll be back with a quick overtime. And we are at overtime. Why, Eagles, why? Dave Bontempo, Pete Amato, Bill Gelman. Bill, I will come to you first. Parting thoughts as we head off into week 2.
All right, well, I have a couple. One is, yes, we're all excited that the Eagles opened week 1 with a convincing win. But in reality, I'll pass judgment on how good or bad this team is after week 6. You still have, after this week, you have the Cowboys in prime time. You got the Kansas City Chiefs, who have played in the last 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. You have they have the Carolina Panthers sandwiched in the middle, followed by the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Bucks. So after those 4 games, let's see plus this week's game, let's see where the Eagles are. And then I think by then we'll really be able to judge where this team stands. As far as this week goes, I just can't pick against the Eagles this week. Home in front of their 60,000+ fans. I don't think they're going to need the points. I think they're going to win flat out. 28-24 Eagles.
All right. It's funny you mentioned you'll judge after 6 games. A lot of fans will judge you after each offensive series. So I'm going to say 28-26 on the Eagles is my thought on that one. And it should be quite a game. Pete, what are your parting thoughts?
I actually agree with Bill. I agree with him. I think them being home is going to be the factor. The Linc is going to be blowing up, I think. With the fans there, full capacity, I think that's really going to be the ultimate factor. Obviously, there's some mismatches on both sides, but my prediction is Bill said 28-24. My prediction is 27-24. So it's 1 point off, but that's
we are all in agreement about where all these teams will end up offensively. Based on those numbers projected, that would be an over. If you happen to be watching and looking for that, remember to make a lot of bets. If you like them on Sunday, a lot of choices do come up to you.
I actually have a bet. It's a kind of a prop bet. It's the first score touchdown for the Eagles game, Eagles 49ers game. If there's a field goal made in the first drive, it's plus 500 odds. And I think that's pretty good odds. Just maybe throw a small bet in there. You can get plus 500 odds on that. And that's at DraftKings.
Hey, there's not enough action. We need action on every drive and on every play. So that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So if the Eagles are 2-0, we'll come back here next week and say, hey, we predicted it. And if they are not 2-0, we're going to say, why? Eagles, why? Thanks for joining us. For Bill Gelman and Pete Amato, this is Dave Bontempo. And remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.
See ya.